wanted to talk a little bit about Learning Plan 1 and to comment and talk a little bit about some concerns a few learners are having, and maybe they're common ones. A few of you have shared that it's hard to get started at times, and once you're started with the material, it's a little bit harder than in a traditional class to really feel that you're able to apply the material. So I've been thinking about that a lot, and I worked crisis for many years. I worked as a counselor on the inpatient unit. I worked in the crisis center. I worked as a mobile crisis worker, as well as I worked directly one-on-one in our crisis apartments. And I was thinking about that if I was in a class, how I would think about applying that. Because I think it's important that you're not only just working for a grade. Of course you want a good grade, and you work hard, you deserve it. But I also want you to learn something in this class and be able to apply it. And just because it's not a traditional class doesn't mean that you can't learn something and apply it. So I'd like you to try this. As you're going through the material, I would like you to think of a population you would be interested in working with. I would like you to think about that a lot, because let's say you want to work with the elderly or young children or women in abusive relationships or male sex offenders, whatever it is. Everyone deserves help. Everyone deserves help through a crisis. How could you help them get through a crisis? I've been thinking about how many people over the years, how many different types of people, and one of the things that I didn't know before I was in the field is talked about in this book. Actually, they talk about crisis as both a danger and opportunity, and I really thought of crisis as something terrible that you help someone get over, and I didn't think there were any positives at all. But working in the field, I realized that it sometimes takes a crisis for somebody to make a large life change. Let's say you're working with a man who is drinking every day. It would be nice if he would decide on his own to go to get help, but more than likely something occurs that helps him recognize that he has a drinking problem. Perhaps he gets a DUI. Maybe his family talks to him about their concerns about his drinking problem. Perhaps he spends a night in jail. There's all sorts of things where the crisis can actually be an opportunity for change. So start thinking about your population of choice, and maybe you don't have one, but pick one just for the purposes of really feeling you can apply this information. As you're reading through the chapters, if you were working in the field, do you want to work as a counselor, a case manager, a crisis worker? Do you want to work with children at social services? Do you eventually want to be a social worker? What kind of work do you want to do? And when you're reading through the chapters, it talks about things like developmental crises and situational crises. How would you apply that to your population of choice? I think sometimes it really does help to think about how you're going to use this in the field to make it seem more real to you. So please email me, contact me with any questions or concerns. I think it's good material. I think it's a good book. And I think anyone who is trained and is knowledgeable about crisis and crisis intervention, it's going to be helpful for you regardless of the job that you're doing, because it doesn't matter what job you're doing. You can work in a nursing home, you can work at the hospital, you could work social services, you can work as at a counseling agency. There's going to be some time, even if you don't work at the crisis center, there's going to be some times that there's going to be a crisis. And having the knowledge and background here, learning about it, I think is really important. So once again, let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to address them either in print or through a little mini video. And good luck and take care.